are playing the best in Christian music, and right about now we have some time with the amazing David Crowder. Hi, David. Welcome to Save Radio.
Why, thank you. I like that little amazing, huh? That feels nice.
We are so glad to have you with.
Yeah, that feels
We are
great.
so glad to have you with us, David. First off, being a part of Passion for more than a decade, how has the movement influenced your spiritual growth and your music?
Man, Passion stuff is about family. I mean, we've known each other for years. I stumbled into this world, maybe 1998, and just got to be great buds with everybody that's a part of it. And so on the front end of things, it was like once a year we get together for a conference and we all be in the same space, and that was what I didn't even hardly care about the fact that there were going to be a ton of college students there. I was just glad to see my friends and catch up and see what's been going on in life, and so there's this real family environment is what it felt like. And then now I live in Atlanta, Georgia. We got a church that we have. You know, we used to be in different spots of in the states and doing different things, and then coming together for these conferences. Well, now we've got a church that exists in Atlanta that we're all a part of, and so the family got even a little tighter. Now we see each other on a weekly basis, and even throughout the week, everybody's interacting in each other's lives, and more than anything, that's what shaped my ideas about God, or the relationships that I'm in, and these people being a part of life with me, man, that's been it. That's been it completely.
We are so glad to consider you part of our spiritual family as well, as part of the entire body of Christ.
Beautiful.
You were able to play last night, the first of 2 nights. It's your first time in Manila. What do you think?
I've loved it, man. I really have loved it. As you said, first time over here. I had no expectations because, I take that back because, as you know, this is the 3rd time that Passion has been to Manila, which is it's an elite city grouping. There's only one other city that Passion has been to 3 times in a row that's outside of the States, and that's Vancouver. So Vancouver and Manila are deeply loved by the Passion clan there. And so, of course, they've been talking it up. You know, they've been like, oh, my goodness, when you get to Manila, they're going to blow that place up. And sure enough, last night was amazing. I mean, it felt like the range of emotions that a human can experience were in that room with us. And so that was I guess tonight is the sold out one that we're doing, and so I have even bigger expectations. I think Manila might get a little more rowdy tonight than it did last night, because these must be the people that were like on it, the top end, and then the last night were the people that kind of snuck in the back door, so to speak, and lucked out that we had 2 nights going on. So I've got large expectations for the evening.
That's it. We are so glad there was actually 2 nights.
Yes.
Now, you sang How He Loves. A lot of our listeners really connect to How He Loves. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that song? What does it mean to you?
Absolutely, man. I can say wonderful things about this song because I didn't write it. It feels weird to say nice things about something you've created, but this one I can say wonderful things because a guy by the name of John Mark McMillan from North Carolina, who's a really good buddy of mine now, I kind of came to the song a little late. I think John Mark had written it like 3 years prior to when I heard it. And I was listening to a CD from a friend of mine, who's actually a guy from Atlanta, and I was on a plane flight from Dallas, Texas to Denver, Colorado. And I'm listening to my buddy's CD, and it gets to this song. And it hit me hard. And I'm sitting in a plane, as I said, very confined social situation, and I am weeping like a small child. I cannot get it together, man. I'm just lost of composure, and I'm apologizing. I'm like, I'm sorry. Just tears streaming out. I get off the plane, I grab the guys in my band, you got to hear this. This is unbelievable. So we started doing it, and before I knew it, I was on the phone with John Mark going, hey man, can we put, this is something special on this song. And it's a theme the church has explored quite a bit. The love of God is not something we lack in conversation about, but for some reason, whether it's just the melody married to the beautiful metaphors that are in the song, it's just such a poetic, beautiful picture of the love of God. And I remember sitting in that plane when I heard it for the first time, feeling like I was discovering the love of God all over again. And I felt whatever platform I have, the church needs this song, because if it affects them like it did me, man, this is something special. These are rare things that come along, and I wanted to do whatever I could to put a little wind behind it on our end. So, wonderful song.
We were so excited when you finally released I Am blew up here, and you sang it also last night.
Yeah.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about I Am?
Absolutely. I got to write with a guy that, man, one of Chris Tomlin's friends that he's written tons of songs with Chris, and I've just never been in this space to write before. And so it's got a guy named Ed Cash. He's also produced a lot of Chris's records, and just a stellar songwriter, great producer in the States, and has had his hands in lots and lots of projects. And I got a hold of Ed. He lives in Tennessee. Picturesque little spread he's got. I mean, it's this house out in the middle of this beautiful green pasture with the rolling hills of Tennessee around, just perfect. And so we're up in his studio overlooking this, windows all around. I'm thinking, if we can't write something wonderful here, we just need to both quit, because this is perfect, you know. And I tell him I've got an idea for the song, and it's about the name of God. When he reveals himself to his people and it says his name aloud, it says, I am, and that evokes presence, and then when he further reveals himself in the person of Christ, you know, Emmanuel, God with us. It's relational, and it's present. It's present. I said, but the wonderful thing is, in moments where I feel like life has gotten tough, where things have gotten a little bleak, I cling to this faith that I have, that God is with me in this thing, and so I'm grabbing on to that belief. And time after time, when I'm in that moment, I find that, man, as hard as I'm trying to grasp this thing, his grasp is even stronger. As much as I try to hold to him, I find out every single time, man, I'm not doing anything here. He's got me, you know. His grip is much stronger than mine, and I just love the turn of phrase that I could say a word, I am holding on to you, and in that, have the realization that God is holding on to me. And as soon as I say that, Ed, he doesn't even look like he's paying attention. He's like staring off in the distance. I'm like, man, I thought this was a solid idea, dude. And he's like, no, I'm sorry. I just had a bunch of orphans from Africa in here yesterday, and for the last couple of days we've been cutting a CD downstairs. And man, I'm just thinking about their faces. These kids that don't even have fathers and mothers, and they're singing these songs to Jesus, and the contentment and the joy in their face is just, I don't know, it's blowing my mind. And so I'm trying to relate this to before I knew it, we had the first verse just like came, you know, take me in like an orphan child, take me in with your arms spread wide. I mean, it's just that song, it's rare when things just like fall out, but there was something in the room that day, and this thing just bubbled up, and glad, as you said, finally got something out the door, and really glad to hear people are attaching to it, because man, for us in that moment, it was like, oh my word, here we are, we have a Father that cares for us people who have been displaced here on planet Earth and have these bleak moments in life. We got a Father that's got his arms around us, holding on to us.
Well, Dave, a couple more questions for you then. Before we're running out of time, we're going to move this up fast. So first, what would you say is the core message of Passion 2014?
Well, it's the same message that's existed since the first Passion event back in the day, and that's that there is the grandness of God that shrinks us into an appropriate size. I mean, when we get really small, when He gets really big, and to be able to participate in something that's outside of ourselves, that's so grand as the story of God and the redemption of God, the rescue of God. That's what Passion's about. Making the name of God and God big, and in the process we get pretty small. We hope that we leave here and nobody's talking about Passion, but talking about the encounter they had with their God. That's what fires us up.
That's awesome. Dave, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate having you over with us. Friends, we were David Crowder.